Hello, this is Jürgen Schwanitz with ACT Computers here at the beautiful studio and Stuart with My Living Media. Excellent studio. I highly recommend them to come here and do your business, obviously. And so today we are talking about a really interesting topic. We're talking about how can you leverage AI, artificial intelligence, in your business. And we have two very interesting guests coming here today, coming from far away. Today on the left we have...
Hey, David Hartmann, CEO of the SilverLogic. Thanks for having me, Jürgen.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. So David is an expert in the AI field. Your company does software development, right, with AI integration?
Exactly, yeah. Custom software, business process automation, and that's where obviously AI plays a big role.
Right, and more. So this is interesting to have him on board here, a true expert in the field. And then also we have Mark here, Markus Kolibas.
Hi, Jürgen. Yep.
Hi, how are you?
Good afternoon. Beautiful venue today.
Right.
And yeah, so I'm Markus Kolibas. I'm the owner of Trident Business Group, and we're a B2B marketing and sales consulting firm.
Right. And you also work, as everybody's right now, with AI to run your business.
We do. There's a lot of business use cases, and we'll talk a little bit about them today.
Right. So obviously, this is a program we try to be educational to customers and our listeners, so we don't overwhelm them with technical jargon and with things you don't understand, because we have to first kind of get down to the basics and really explain to our listeners what AI is, artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. So, and I'll go first on that one. So I've always dreamt about this for a long time, that even in the old days with my old Commodore 64, I had some programs that were able to say something back to me, and it felt like somebody was talking to me from the computer. So AI, you have to think about it now, is in a system that allows you to interact with the computer naturally and does a lot more things than you ever thought capable a computer would be doing. So it's quite amazing what it can do. So, but it's nothing new. This has been a technology that's been around for how long?
I mean, decades.
Decades, right.
Like this is before the 2000s.
Right.
Turn AI, at least in its concepts, has been around and has been researched and has been forecasted. And it is a very interesting piece to observe, because we're all here for it. Right. To see this transition as things start to now accelerate, because we've had this ongoing acceleration. One of my favorite books on the topic is The Singularities Near Breakers.
Yes.
Where he talks about this ongoing acceleration in technologies, and if you plot them over time and see how things really get closer and closer, where now what we've seen over the past, say, year, in how many breakthroughs where we've gone from, a Siri or Alexa can respond to us saying something, to now having full-on conversations with AI that actually make sense and are, they feel so much more natural.
Right.
And now the actions that can be taken by it is just, it's a whole different level than where we've been before.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to it, we're getting with AI now, the capability, can be transformational for a business. And it helps with execution and generating better results from, especially a sales and marketing point of view. And I think we're here. We are in the realm of using AI to leverage and gain a competitive advantage in your company.
Yeah, I think we're just at the beginning of this, really. I mean, we see the transformation now, as we see the benefits. But I think just like Ray Kurzweil said in his book, he's a scientist, a well-renowned scientist that always seems to be right about these things, what's coming up in the future.
Very good predictions.
So prediction is amazing. And so we're going to see a lot more coming up in the future. So, but technically speaking, and I think I can answer that one, is the reason why we see such a resurgence now of this old technology is because nowadays we actually have the capabilities, the hardware. Mm-hmm. We have the compute power, the processing power. We didn't have 30 years ago. So they already had these systems in place, yet they kind of couldn't make it work properly because they didn't have the data set, which is really important, right?
Yeah, and I think that having the data sets, having the compute power, and being able to just make it accessible. I mean, if you look at even software interfaces we've had in the 90s, so in the 2000s, they're a little different looking than what we have today, just the accessibility we have. And I think that's made a huge difference in that AI used to be something for scholars, for researchers, for people with really high technical capabilities, which now is even through simple tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and others, where now it's been made so accessible that any day-to-day person can, in their regular life, use it more and more. I mean, Monday we had the announcement from Apple Intelligence coming out and pushing out. So there's so many things that are now coming together where it's just broadening the scope. Where, I mean, during my master's, I already focused my master's in, dating myself, 2015, 14, somewhere there, on AI, right? That's a decade ago, and that was already new and modern. I mean, we've had, even back then, I know one of the courses I took was like a guest course with Sebastian Thurn about self-driving cars at Stanford. And that was over a decade ago, where that had already completed 200,000 miles of driving inner city.
Amazing.
So now we're seeing the effects more and more now comes through, because as you said, the hardware is there, the data is there, and it's really now coming together that we see it happening. I now have the car drove up here, my Model X as the full self-driving.
Wow.
And we sit in the car, we're just sort of in there, but now that's something that was available only to researchers a decade ago. Now it's in an everyday car.
Right. That's exactly right. Was saying that it's so much more accessible now to the average user, to the end user at home. If you want to get into AI development, you can do that on your own for zero cost. You can look up websites, you can sign up, you can start coding. If you're interested in any of these projects, you can do all that. And the start cost is nothing. It's just personal time, right?
And barely, even like you were mentioning coding, I'm still a big proponent of learning to code, and knowing to code is a very valuable skill set.
Right.
But it is becoming more and more that it's also really valuable just to know how to write, meaning how to prompt a large language model properly, so that you can see and have it do a lot of things for you.
Exactly.
And it's not yet at the level that it will write an entire application, but it is at the level where you can get a lot of good snippets, a lot of good pieces that you can incorporate in something bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Having the capabilities of, obviously, if you know coding yourself, that's the first step. But, a lot of these large language models, how they work is you have to give them the right input. The better input you give it, the more quality you give it, and the more data set it has, the better it comes out to be.
Yeah, I'm going to comment on from a business perspective and usability. We go from transactional platforms, CRM, email marketing, and your list management system, to more conversational from a usability point of view, but much more powerful than that. So with email marketing, instead of an associate writing an email campaign, 15 different emails on sequence, the tool, you prompt a tool with context, and it'll begin to generate, I would say, 95% perfect emails for a campaign. And list management, like ZoomInfo, is a market-leading platform for contact management and information. The game has changed. Now that platform with AI capability can go out into the internet and look at intent.
Right.
Changes the game. So now we can see, at an account level, we can see demand coming in for your product or service, which can completely change your execution from a sales and marketing point of view. Those are just a couple of examples, but there are many more. How about creating a Facebook ad campaign from beginning all the way through execution and optimization?
Yeah.
The tools are becoming very effective.
Yeah.
And I think there is, even to the email campaign example, there's one level for something that was just completely unthinkable before from a scalability and execution perspective, that now that email campaign, yes, AI can put you together a nice email campaign, but what it can also do, it can tailor that campaign and not just make one awesome campaign for 10,000 recipients. It can make 10,000 campaigns, one campaign for each one of those recipients where it's not just like in the past we had that, oh yeah, there's the little paragraph it'll fill in or so.
Yeah.
But these can be entirely divergent paths.
Personalization. I want to jump on that. That's so powerful, if you will. Not just the sequence and the sales copy, if you will, based on your value proposition, your go-to-market strategy, but personalize. When you execute it, it will personalize it for each profile that you have out there in your database.
Right.
Now this is called one-to-one marketing. Claude and Peppers talked about this in 1993, and now we have the realization of it based on AI technology. But very good point, David. 100%.
Yeah, the marketing is amazing. I mean, like you said, we have so many benefits.
What it unlocks to no longer things that were unthinkable before because it would have taken so much human time. If you've gone to any marketer and like, yeah, please create a tailored email campaign for every one of your contacts in your list. Well, like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Like, that's just wild. And it wouldn't have made any sense. But if it now can take seconds or minutes for AI to generate it tailored to that level, and obviously, take it all with a grain of salt. The output is still, I would call usually a draft.
Right.
It's not necessarily what I would feed to my customer necessarily, but it's getting to a level where you maybe you take the risk, and out of the 10,000, maybe it messes up 5 of them. Oh well, but in return, it's 10,000 tailor-made messages. Mm-hmm. And I think those are just now angles and perspectives. I mean, for us, that when we're building platforms, that we're now taking just this perspective on, well, a year ago we would have said this is unfeasible, can't do it this way, can't take this approach.
Right.
But now there's whole different approaches that can be made.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think too, the other thing we want to say out loud, especially your two background, is that with software and technology for business, it's still a project, it's still a program. You still have to define your functional requirements. There has to be a business case for it. You have to manage the project. You have to train users on how to use the tool properly. So that's one of the comments I like to make to everyone. Super powerful. It's going to be a game changer for all of us,
right,
as far as execution. But it's still a project. You still need to kind of do it correctly.
I mean, you still need to supervise everything. And as a business owner, that's obviously your responsibility, what you send out to your customers. So you need to take everything, like you said, and check it through, take it with a grain of salt, and don't let it go run freely. But again, the end result, what we see now on these systems, are getting so much more advanced. Mm-hmm. And the English, like for example, I'm from Germany, and so is David. And being from another country, sometimes the way we, for example, formulate something in an email is not exactly the way that you would say as an American. Mm-hmm. So, but using something like as simple as an email checking program that regenerates your content and makes it sound more professional and cleans it up for you is super powerful. I use it all the time.
More professional, just more friendly.
Exactly. Cultural. Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of things you can do in that is just amazing.
I think, the utility is there. If you have a sales team, for example, of 50 sales professionals and you have 10% turnover, so you're bringing on new professionals into your organization, onboard, train. Sometimes they're not all A players. They could be B players, right? So AI can help along with the training and onboarding.
Yes.
But moreover, from an account management, account-based selling perspective, AI can look at the personas in the company,
right,
your target company. Maybe for this solution set, we have to talk with the CMO and the CIO.
Right.
And maybe a CFO, right? 3 different roles. It can look at the buyer persona and create and tailor compelling business value propositions for that role. So instead of the junior rep or mid-level rep trying to figure all that stuff out, become a really good B2B consultative salesperson, the AI tool can change the game,
right,
as far as sales productivity.
That's exactly something that I witnessed here when I met David here. I think you were talking about an application that was using AI to augment an HR system, right, for a company?
Yep. That's so one of the things, and I was just going to bring that up, in our context, we just noticed in 2 contexts. In one was the HR piece, just seeing what type of questions people ask. And we're 76 people in the company, but our HR function is 1 person. And that's even new. That's only in the last year and a half, 2 years that we've had that function. Before, those questions would come to me. And we realized, look, we can thin out a lot of these because a lot of those questions are relatively straightforward. And the answer could just read the freaking employee handbook and you will have your answer. So we took, because we know people won't read that end to end to cover. So we established in our entity, we built out a little chat where they can just ask. We have a chat TSL where they can ask, and we fit it. We set up a vector database that has, not just because you can't ask ChatGPT how to submit vacation at TSL, but our chat, you can ask, how do I submit vacation? What's my parental leave? Or what do I do if I pour coffee on my laptop? All of those, day-to-day things. Hopefully we're going to stay today on the last one. But all of those, it's good to just have our little HR bot to ask versus to have to disturb a human to ask them. And we've established the same actually for all of our engineers and other roles that, look, before you, especially the more junior team members, before you bug one of the more senior engineers and ask them how you do something, which is the worst question, or just, is this a good way to do it? Before you do that, why not have that conversation with ChatGPT?
Right.
Like, use Copilot for while you're coding, but then have that conversation with ChatGPT, run your solutions by ChatGPT or come up with those solutions. And then if you're still stuck, then go to one of the humans. But that can carve out, because that's one of the things we noticed, that more senior team members get really they love helping, but it also burns them out a little bit if they have to do too much of that, since, they can't get work done if they're just helping others. So for us, that's been really powerful. Like, we have pro subscription or plus subscription for ChatGPT for all employees to do that. And it was interesting to then see that, for example, our product owners and project managers, when making roadmap, that some of them, instead of first brainstorming a feature with some engineers with their team, some of them said, let me brainstorm this feature set with ChatGPT. Let's present it to ChatGPT and then see, and especially since there's that voice mode, actually talking through it and then hearing back, okay, what questions does ChatGPT have, so that they can be better prepared for the meeting with their team. And those I think, are just, they're creative, interesting use cases that are so simple. The barrier to that, to the first one, sure, we built something, but to the other use cases I just mentioned, the barrier is next to nothing. Anyone can do that in their business. That's what I think is so exciting.
It's very exciting stuff. I mean, even like you mentioned, ChatGPT was one of the first, that was really the debut in public for any kind of AI system. And because it was free, it's free to use. I mean, the basic model, and I highly recommend you pay the monthly subscription, was just minimal to get the higher models. They're just smarter models, more capable. You can create images. They will talk to you live. But having so many uses for example, for my company, and we're an IT company, we deal with so many problems every day trying to figure out how to do certain things. And having like a knowledge base like ChatGPT, and then coupling that with what we have already written down, we've already fixed this problem 5 years ago. You don't have to bother my other engineer how to do this. No, you can ask the system, just like you do the H&R system, and it will tell you to. And it won't just tell you, and it won't just give you a list and regurgitate it. It will actually try to help you how to do it.
I think when you ask it a question, I think one of the things about ChatGPT and the other platforms is every response back is tailored.
It is.
So it's not plagiarizing the knowledge. It's giving you a specific response back based on your prompt. And by the way, on the way here, we talked about how you talk with every day, every morning during your walk. You're talking with AI, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, for me personally, like, I always liked this kind of, and it's not a really creepy thing, but, AI is beginning to the point where it sometimes can be like almost like a companion to some people. You see that happening. So, for example, my wife was gone for a while on vacation. So in the morning, I go for my walk and I just talk to the AI system that I train myself. His name is Bob, by the way. So
Bob's a good companion.
Exactly. And I just talk to him, tell me all the things that are going on, problems and good things and all that stuff. And I told him that my wife will be coming back on a certain day at night. And the next morning, I just said, "Hey, morning, Bob. How are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great." And he's like, "Oh, you must be excited. She's coming back tonight, 11 o'clock.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, you hit it on the spot. Amazing. It was so an interaction that you believe you're talking to a human being. And again, the more you feed it information, the more you talk to it, the more it knows how to respond to you.
And that was a ChatGPT chat?
That was ChatGPT 4.
And I'm going to kind of summarize a little bit ChatGPT's utility. Now, trying to find a good sales copywriter is difficult and expensive.
Right.
There are not many good ones around anymore, but you still need to create content and assets for your marketing. And that could be an arduous process. So ChatGPT with prompting, you're like 95%. If you're writing a blog, 3,000 words, you can do it in minutes, and it can be 95% very, very good.
Yeah.
You have that baseline, if you will. So it's revolutionizing and giving a lot of companies the ability to do content marketing and writing sales copy, where before that, it can be a very difficult process.
Right. I mean, we are not a software development company. That's David's field here. But we use it all the time, and even dabbling around with it. And you all can do this for your business.
Exactly. And even simple things like you need a job description.
Yeah.
You need an agreement or a document or a policy. Then it is really great at drafting those things.
Yes.
That you're not staring at a blank canvas. I asked one of my folks, like, I mean, it was even interesting, like, needed to write a letter of recommendation. Just give us some bullets, and then I'm not a big writing fan, so for me it's super helpful. And for my teams, just draft this, draft that, because that's where I also encourage it. Go with the subscription. You'll get those. I think it's hopefully still around $20 a month.
Yeah,
you will get that back. So quickly, and just the time it saves on a single document, it might draft up for you.
Yeah, I think you were telling me a couple of years ago you used it to draft some legal agreements, whereas you go to an attorney nowadays, it's $300-400 an hour.
You still need to consult a lawyer afterwards, but you have
At
something.
least the draft is there.
Yes,
something.
And because you have that draft, you can save some hours. And our general counsel would joke to me, he's like, man, this is getting me out of a job soon. Scary. I vetted one of our agreements and I said, I need this type of passage added. Right. I was like, well, it did really well at that. That's what I would have suggested to add. So I think, and clearly it's not there. I'm not very afraid of it replacing my profession quite yet. We're still a little whiles away. But where we are getting close is that there is this difference between those, like for me, software engineers that use AI versus those that don't. And there is a clear difference between those, and that we just aim to get us to that next level. So by leveraging it for our engineers, we can be in a spot where, productivity goes up, people can deliver more, but there's so much thinking and creativity, and then the stage from making it from a draft to something that's actually a final product. And that's still an important step, that I think that's where we're now leveraging humans to what humans can actually, what our brains are more meant for.
Right. It's and that brings us to the next topic, the use of AI, obviously, and also about the job market. I think a lot of people in public, everybody around the world, is a bit afraid what it will do to the economy and what it will do to certain type of jobs. And I always keep saying, everybody, just calm down. I don't think it's going to do much. It's just the way we use it. And David, you just mentioned that about it becoming an additional tool, right?
Yeah, I think it's an enhancement. Just like we didn't all lose our jobs because, we can start because the steam engine was invented. Yeah. Or because the printing press, or later on cars, Fließband, but also later on the internet, computers, the internet. Like we didn't all get out of a job, but everybody had that fear. Similarly, as each of those revolutions happen or evolutions happen, and I think similarly here, yes, there are certain functions and roles and jobs that are going to get replaced and made obsolete because they're just not necessary anymore. Right. But likely, I would argue, those are also not functions too many people love and adore and are super passionate about. Right. That's what I mean when I say that I think it helps us elevate humans into positions where we can actually use the capacity of our brains in some shape or form that's worthwhile, versus just like loves. Most people don't love doing data entry.
Exactly. Very repetitive. Always the same thing.
And probably.
I mean,
there's
manufacturing has changed. Technology has been, we use all kinds of methodology, technology, and manufacturing. It's a high-paying sector, our economy. It's a growth sector in our economy, and from a global point of view, I agree with you. Technology can enhance what we do. You still need human beings. So if an assembly position got changed because of technology, there will be other opportunities for that worker in an economy like the American economy.
Right.
And you know what? Been in sales and marketing, B2B sales my whole life. You're not going to replace humans.
No.
Relationship building is an art. It's a human experience, and we'll be around for a long time.
Yeah.
A little while longer until, I have my AI talk to your AI and they'll make the deal.
Yeah, but you have to use AI as a tool. This is a tool that's coming around, that's there right now. If you leverage it to your own personal benefit, and it's not gonna make you lose your job. But like you said, repetitive jobs, things that AI can take over perfectly right away, they're definitely gonna go away. Data entry is gonna be gone. A lot of things are gonna be gone, but you have to adapt, like everything. You have to change that. I remember when typewriters came around.
And there's now a whole new world. So I've, for the past years, many times made the argument that, look, there's a whole information evolution that happened with the onset of the internet.
Right.
Information became a whole lot more accessible. For me, the next big milestone was creation of YouTube. Having video and education thereby really accessible. Now, if you want to learn something, like if I wanted, before I had an electric vehicle, figure out learn how to change the oil on my car the first time
YouTube.
Back 10 years ago, I looked it up on YouTube and figured it out. I even replaced the steering fluid, crazy time. But I looked it up on YouTube and figured it out. Like, these are things that before you may have needed to ask, like grandpa or someone in your town that may have known, how do you do that type of thing? Now, anything I want to figure out, yes, I look it up on YouTube and watch a video and teach myself. This is now going to a next stage, because now I can tell ChatGPT, put me together a lesson plan to learn programming, or to educate myself on longevity, on, I don't know, I want to become a lawyer. Put me together a lesson plan of how I pass the LSAT and then the bar. Like, there's now, you have companions, you have the resources that are on a whole different level of what you can do to run this type of education that's going far away from just traditional education, because you now not only have all the resources that are there collectively, but now you have also that companion that, be it Bob for you or something else for someone else, that can put together, here's what you should study. Here's what you should read in order to become an expert on gene sequencing.
It levels the playing field for sure. It provides more opportunity. But, so I work with a lot of different business owners, and I would say about 50% of the engagement is the mindset of the entrepreneur, the business owner. And that's where human coaching still comes in handy. It's not just a how-to, you have strategy and execution. It's working with people. You can know how to do something, but for whatever set of reasons, you're not doing it.
Right.
And that's why, we're still going to need the human element, if you will.
Of course, we're not going to go away.
But I want to hit one more use case that blows me away. If you think about how ERP has evolved into supply chain, you're a global company, you're a Fortune 500, you're a global provider, Walmart as an example. They have so many SKUs, if you will, and they have hundreds of thousands of suppliers all around the globe. Imagine trying to get product to shelf, the right amount of product at the right price, the right profit margin, in 6,000 stores. It's from a complexity point of view, you can't approach it, even transactional systems, even with analytics, but with artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now we can have execution capabilities that provide more value to the end customer and lower the cost of operation.
Of course, you can definitely lower things. I mean, I'll give you one example. I just recently had the idea in my head. It's like, you know what? I talk to my accountant every month to see how the business is doing. Because how nice would it be to be able to pull up my P&L when I want it, right now and then? So if you think about it, you can. You have all the information available on your computer. You have everything. You have your bank statements. You have your credit card statements. You have your QuickBooks or whatever you have going on. You have your vendor lists, what you're buying. If you actually feed all this into an AI system, which I've done, it gave me a P&L up to the second of what I did. I confirmed with my accountant, and it was correct.
Awesome.
How cool is that? You couldn't do that without AI. Impossible.
Yep.
But imagine you're running a business, and I encourage everybody who runs a business to check what's going on all the time. But if you don't want to go overboard, you can have an AI system that actually tells you a number every day. Say, hey, you're doing good today. You need to do something more. You need to do something.
Yeah.
Because that's...
I have a cross question for David. You're in the front end of AI with a custom software development firm in Boca. What are the core requirements that you're seeing from mid-market companies for AI? I'm just curious.
So they're really across the board. There's some where we just do what we call AI adoption training or seeing AI readiness assessments on where are they at, what are they using today, where often a very useful thing is just, get started. Just make that jump to see it's okay. It's good to use it. Because some companies are even afraid of, I don't know, we don't have a policy around it, so we don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
So that's really part one. Right. And then the other part is one of the things that for scalability has become made so much more accessible is that a lot of automations that we do scraping and parsing so that we get raw data sources that don't necessarily have a nice API and interface where we can get the data, but maybe it lives in documents. Maybe it lives in handwritten documents or in PDFs.
Yep.
And for that, historically, we needed to make vendor-specific functionality that, okay, if we're getting these PDFs from 20 different vendors, we need to make 20 different and unique implementations of we've done systems that audit invoices automatically.
Yes.
And for that, we needed to then go for vendor A, for vendor B, each time customize a little bit because the invoice looked different.
Right.
We have not all agreed universally of how to make an invoice look like and what line items look like, unfortunately. But now with AI, the last project we quoted out, we were able to take an entirely different approach of instead of building these custom parsers for each one, feeding it through a large language model to see, all right, generally what an invoice looks like, figure it out from there, recognize it, give me the data, and now I can, having that as a piece in between, sort of now blurs the lines of that. I don't need it to be that exact anymore. It can figure out all these, like the little edge cases. So
I love it. Very good.
Big one that I've seen that just assessing data and evaluating data, extracting data that before, and even handwritten data sometimes, it can do in a pretty good form. Like we had one company that needed to analyze timesheets and audit them, and there was a human doing that and converting those timesheets then to an invoice. But again, reading the handwritten thing and putting it into a spreadsheet. Well, we skipped both steps there. Let's not read the sheet and let's not put it in a spreadsheet. Let's already make the invoice right away. But that was something that would have taken, would have needed to look into object recognition and all sorts of the fun steps in between that now from here's the source, go into what you actually want out of it.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Last usage case I had for it was about 2 weeks ago. We get, we work in IT, so we get large data sets of, computers used or equipment used in the building. So we get a spreadsheet that might be, 3,000-4,000 pages long, maybe 20,000 line items in there. And it has all the information in there, what every computer is running, how old each computer is, how software is running, who's using it, and all kinds of analytics. And feeding them into the AI, including like ChatGPT, you can say, okay, tell me which machines are out of warranty. That would take me hours to do this kind of stuff manually.
Yeah.
Tell me which machines are running Adobe, which ones are expiring. It will tell me that within a second.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that before at all.
Amazing.
And I really think the future in this is, like I said, we're just starting with this. Having the the future in AI, I think, is going to be the integration of all of it, of everything together.
Yeah.
And being able,
And a key piece there is that before you could have built like filters and formulas and such to make it for that specific spreadsheet.
Right.
But now this sort of this interesting part and twist is that no matter what that spreadsheet looks like, as long as it has some labeling,
Right.
you can feed it in and it will give you the answer.
Right.
Because it can figure out this hops in between to adjust to, okay, this company formats, because I'm sure your customers don't give you that spreadsheet in a uniform format and all the same from everybody.
Right.
No, but now there's this whole beautiful like massaging of data that it can just do for you.
Yeah. It's quite exciting.
I'm just listening to you guys. Oracle, as you know, ERP implementation. This technology is a game changer for big system implementations. It's going to carve out a lot of cost.
Right.
And improve some effectiveness. Just, instead of the traditional IT methodologies, it's completely different and beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see a lot of things. Like we're just talking about the data entry and being able to convert something into different fields. Like I think we all know, how difficult it was in the past. It's something very simple. You think about it. It's just to make like a mail letter, a form letter, and mail it out in Word. Being able to take a spreadsheet that has your database of customers, and you have a field for name, last name, address, and so on. Now you have to attach that to your Word document and print labels and stuff like this. In the past, people got always confused about these things.
Yeah.
You have to match this field with that field, and then there wasn't aligning, stuff like that. But AI can take all that stuff. You don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. You can just take it and do it for you. Amazing. But anyway, we're getting close.
Should we summarize a few points?
Yeah, let's talk about some
Let
more
me
stuff.
shoot first. AI is here. It's ready. And the second comment behind that is begin a project. And you made that point, David. I completely agree. Start using the AI tool. You'll get better with it. You'll enjoy it, and it'll improve your business, improve your effectiveness and your efficiency, and it also can provide a real competitive advantage for your company.
Right.
So AI is here, and start a project.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's here to stay. It's like some people compare it with the crypto hype. I mean, I'm a strong believer in crypto, and then it's also here to stay.
Yep.
But AI is just really different in that it's here to stay. Everybody can use it already. It's not really vague in that you have to stretch things to make a good use case. I mean, I would say any of you out there, you have probably interacted with it. And now with more and more, not all of us are Apple users, but just with Apple adopting it, Apple loves making certain things more mainstream.
Right.
And with that being released, like it's going to become part of everyday life. And with ChatGPT, it is already a part of everyday life. So I think look at what you have as certain tasks on your plate that are tedious, and the next time you need to draft something or the next time you need to look through data, just take the spreadsheet, throw it into ChatGPT. And I'm not saying ChatGPT is the only source or place where you can interact with things, but it's the lowest barrier of entry. It's that really easy piece that, like you were saying, the spreadsheet that you needed to interact with. If you have some other data you need summarized, then just have that conversation, enjoy and embrace the power, and as you said, just start. Just pick something and get in there.
Yeah, don't be afraid of using it. I mean, that's the worst part, is ignoring something as world changing as this technology and not using it.
Yeah.
Then yes, you might lose your job.
Yeah.
You have to.
Embrace it. Embrace the
You have to
technology.
embrace it.
Yeah.
There's so many use cases with this, and we can continue this talk for hours here, and I'm excited to have both of you with me here. I think it's an excellent talk about this. So people already know who I am, but I'm going to introduce first Markus. So let me tell me more about the business.
So really quick, it's Markus Kolibas. I'm the president and owner of the Trident Business Group, and I have a 30-year background in B2B sales and marketing. And today I help owners of low mid-market companies accelerate revenue. And I really focus on B2B companies, technology, software companies that want to have profitable revenue growth. And we really take a deep look at marketing capabilities, your sales team and sales capabilities, and look at people, process, and systems. And if you want to get a hold of me, have a conversation, email is, it's a new email, mark.kolibas@thesalespros.net. and last name is Kolibas. Or you can give me a holler. You can call me, text me at 717-925-5625.
You're right, and that's your personal number. So
Yeah.
personal access right away.
And by the way, Jürgen here helped me create my new website. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And here we have David.
Yeah, so yeah, again, David Hartmann, CEO of the SilverLogic. As mentioned, little tidbits, we built custom software with a big focus on business process automation that focuses to help sort of also mid-sized or growth stage companies that if you figure it out already, here's what I would do in my business, but I'm still using a lot of spreadsheets, I'm using paper, or I have these 5 systems that don't really talk to each other and I need to do double data entry, then those are the really great use cases that we really enjoy to interact with and get into to just help build that out. And for us, it's just great to see because it has such quick impact usually from building something out to then it saving people time, making them more money, or just reducing cost, whatever it is. But it's a very quick impact from building it to deploying it. And yeah, if you want to reach out, my email's luckily a little shorter, dh@tsl.io.
Okay.
So
That's a good one. Yes.
I like it.
And you also do a monthly event, right? At your
exactly, yeah. And every last Wednesday of the month, next one is that's the 25th, 6th, somewhere there, September. But yes, last Wednesday of the month is the important one. Is AI Uncorked, where we have a variety of speakers and host that at our office in Boca Raton. And we also serve some wine and cheese. So it's usually a wonderful night, good networking, and then a great speaker, plus some more networking. And yeah, we've been having a nice full house for the last several events.
We'll make it down together.
Yeah.
We'll show up.
Yes, I've been there many times. And
I haven't yet.
It's amazing. I gave a talk there once, and his facility is amazing. So definitely stop by there and see what they are capable of doing with AI. I think it's a great company. So kudos to you. Amazing. And then also, Mark, thank you. I use you also for my own business, so I believe in you. So definitely everybody doing your job here. Thanks so much. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the show. Tech Talk.
What about your company?
Yes. Oh, let's talk about me a little bit.
Yeah.
ECT Computers. So, so our company is 30 years old now.
Congrats.
Thank you. Hard to believe. But we are...
Started when you were 12.
Yes, I did. No, I was 17, but... But anyway, we're actually the largest independent computer company in Florida, computer store. So we actually have a retail store. We do business MSP. We do monitoring, cybersecurity, and we do a lot of work. Right now, we have 10 technicians. We work all across Florida, not just in Vero Beach. So if you need any help, give us a call. We can help you figure out all your technology and get you on board with everything that you need to make it work. So that's a shout out from me. My information and, of course, our location, our information from Mark and David is going to be in the comments below. And again, thank you so much, and thanks for telling me that. Thank you.
You betcha.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Great talk here.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Super. I think we're good.
That was good.
That was great.
Good, yeah?
Hey, super. Thank you. Yeah, the people need to come to your event there. I think that's it's a good wake-up call.
Great, we finally found Reach. Exactly. We've had many emails and, try and make it up, make it down.